All right, we got something really exciting here. The latest uh, iteration of the Sight and Sound Greatest Films of All Time list has been released. This list is only updated once every 10 years. So this is the first revisit since 2012. And I would say, hands down, this is the most prestigious and meaningful ranking of movies that exists. It's been going since 1952. They survey kind of all of the most legitimate, most respected, hardest working movie critics in the world. A super multicultural, multi era examination of the art of film. It's pretty wild. We have 1,639 participating critics, programmers, curators, archivists, and academics, each who submitted a top 10 list. There should be a comma here, but whatever. And they statistically then break down what is the highest, most acclaimed movie based on all of those ballots. Later, they're going to release everyone's individual top 10 ballot itself. But we're going to dive in and go through. Ooh, there's also the directors. Did this come out today as well? So they also do a directors list where they ask directors their opinion and not critics. So I think this is also worth looking at. But we'll look at the critics list first because this is kind of the definitive one. Wild. I'm really, really excited to see this. My friend said that he'd already read it and it was a pretty crazy list. I think there's going to be some big shakeups. The 2012 poll was already a huge shakeup in that Vertigo beat out Citizen Kane, which had been in number one since the list started running. So let's dive in. Okay, we've got some ties. The bottom ones are all ties. The first six, I guess, are ties. Okay. This I've seen. I quite like it. Maybe we can. Okay, this is the best way I can do it, so we can see one movie at a time and not get spoiled too quickly. Yeah, banger, a lot of fun, very intense, good escalation, good development, a lot of really cheeky humor, very well observed satirical characters. It's like on the nose in a way that like now more than ever it was important to have very on the nose, very direct discussion of this, but at the same time it's not super tied to like current struggles of black people in America, but instead just kind of looks at a very long view of America's disgusting history with race. Banger. Like, to say it's a poster film for Black Lives Matter, I think that's actually like, I don't want to say selling it short, but it's like more timeless than that, you know? It takes like very timeless horror tropes and applies them to, you know, something that satirizes going back to like slave auctions and stuff. Okay. This is a very famous General Buster Keaton movie, The General. I haven't seen it. About the Civil War. Looks fun, looks goofy. There's going to be a lot of old movies on here that I just haven't seen and don't know much about. Here's another one. It's not that old. A Senegalese movie. Raised post-colonial relations with Senegal in the small yet commanding feature debut. Okay, sure. I'm sure it's good. Tropical Malady. This one I haven't seen, but I've seen a lot of Uncle Joe, as he asks himself to be referred to by the Western media who cannot pronounce the full Thai name. He's a wonderful director, really beautiful sentimental work looking at very difficult human relationships. I've heard this one is the best. I got to get to it at some point. I think, as many of his works do, it takes place in like hospitals and deals with the work of doctors, which is always very compelling for me. Once Upon a Time in the West, one of the Sergio Leone Western classics. I haven't seen this one. I know it's a classic. There's probably going to be a couple of other classic Westerns on here. A Man Escaped. I've never heard of this one. A French film from the 50s. Looks very intense. Prison escape. Okay, sure. His most starkly essential. I like that. That's a very intriguing definition. Madame de... 50s French movie, another one. I like this idea of following a certain possession around, or something that doesn't really have a lot of agency, and you just kind of see all the societal forces that move it. A very good concept for a film. I really like the descriptor woozy whirligig. The Leopard. Yet another one I haven't heard of. Oh my gosh, dude. This list is making me out to be an ignoramus. Sicilian Nobility. So this one now jumps up to 90. All the ones that have tied for 90th. Sure. Displays of wealth tinged with melancholy. I do like that. Okay, this one I feel... Oh, I think I've heard of this. Yeah. There's a lot of these kind of Japanese classic horror movies that my boyfriend really likes. So I get exposed to them through him, but we don't always like watch them. He'll more just kind of give me a quick synopsis or whatever, and then they all kind of get jumbled in my head. So probably at some point I have learned about this, but they're all really beautiful, really like sparse and haunting and poetic. I've really enjoyed all the ones we've watched. I'm excited to learn more and more about the genre. Looks like a good one. We get a classic scene of a woman, perhaps ghost, we don't know, kind of attending dutifully but sorrowfully to the needs of man, perhaps ghost, who is distressed and laid up in bed. Yi. Oh, I've heard of this. I've heard this is really good, yeah. This sounds fantastic. This is like right up my alley. A family and something bad happens. And the idea of rich, relaxed expression. So much to love here. Even this one thumbnail, or even this one frame, fills me with delight. Just looking at this elegantly dressed man with corsage, seemingly on the brink of suicide in a McDonald's, while presumably his son just kind of looks on. Parasite. Pop provocation for unequal times. Very nice. Yeah, really, really fun movie. 10 times more fun and 10 times better than I hoped it would be, and I already had pretty high hopes for it. Yeah, lots and lots of fun. Finally, another one I've seen. We're up to 2. Unsurprisingly, they're the 2 newest movies on the list. Yeah, banger. Chungking Express. 3! I've seen 3! I love this movie. I really love this movie. I love Wong Kar-wai. I hope In the Mood for Love, Wong Kar-wai's greatest masterpiece in my opinion, will show up deep into this list. But, oh man, I don't know. Like, his movies, it's just like... The saddest dude you've ever seen is about to make himself sadder. Click here to find out how. The one scene that really sticks out for me in this, and I'm sure this is true for a lot of people, is the very long, sorrowful scene where a man who broke up with his girlfriend goes around buying as many cans of pineapple as he can find that expire on the day that she left him, and then eats them in this long pineapple eating marathon in his apartment. A classic. Oh, the 4! We've seen 4! Oh man, we're doing good. What can you even say about this movie? It's flawless. It's presented like just this amazing schizophrenic nightmare. It just knocks down the door of your senses. Just chilling and claustrophobic winter at the empty Overlook Hotel. It is often spoofed. It has become one of the landmarks of kind of pop culture media. And I think it's notable that it made it that far because it's just so good that, you know, all of the classic scenes like this one could have been so goofy, could have been like so ripe for parody just because they're so over the top and comical. But it's a testament to how good the movie is. That they're not jokes, and that this is actually one of the scariest moments in cinema, I think. What's this? I should be guessing what the movie is before I scroll down. That'd be fun. Okay, Godard. I have not really seen much Godard. I got to. I should. He's great. All of these like kind of experimental essay films. Oh, we're up to 84 now. This is 88. Okay. The rankings don't matter too much. They're gonna get more spaced out, I think, in terms of votes the further we go. But yeah, I don't know. All these Godard video essays I think are really, really fascinating, and I just kind of love that format. Very different than the modern YouTube video essay, but I love both. This is... I don't know. It's another Godard. Oh, this is one of his most famous ones. Pere Le Fou. I don't know much about it. I guess it's a effervescent escapade. Sure. The range of him is insane. Seems like fun. This is, The Spirit of the Beehive. Never heard of this one. The Spanish Civil War. Okay. Sounds intense. Better be pro-commie. I don't want to see no fascist propaganda on my site and sound list. But probably it doesn't take a real political stance, and it's more about, you know, what a kid feels like in a war-torn country. This is, oh, Blue Velvet. Okay. What are we at? 5? We've seen 5. I should keep a counter going. What's a 5? I guess I'll just put the number 5. I was like, oh, maybe I should go back and like list them, but I'm too lazy. Yeah, banger. Not my favorite David Lynch. Not even in my like top 3 favorite David Lynches. What are my favorite David Lynches? Inland Empire and Mulholland Drive are both like 1 and 2 in some order. Eraserhead maybe 3, and then it's like, oh, do you count Twin Peaks as a Lynch film? If so, that's maybe number 1 still. What else do I like? What else is there? Anyways, I'm curious to see where the other ones will land. I like Lost Highway a lot too. I might like Lost Highway more than Blue Velvet. I just don't remember the one I don't remember this one that much. I haven't seen it in a long time. Anyways, cool. Good. A director I know well making an appearance. Never heard of this one. Celine and Julie Go Boating. It looks fun. Looks like they're having a blast. Okay. I don't have anything to say about it. This looks like... What in the world? Oh, Russian Ark? Is this Russian Ark? No, A Matter of Life and Death. I don't know, it was just staged so weird. I thought it was Russian Ark. Definitely some very surreal thing going on here. Okay, this looks really cool. I've never heard of this. The idea of like a air pilot on the brink of death having like a hallucination of the afterlife or something. That sounds wild. Oh, here we go. Modern Times. I have seen this for a movie class when I was in school. 6. It's very fun. I don't know. It's like hard for me to evaluate these like really monumental early films. I guess it's a testament to how good they are that they're still fun to watch now, that you still get caught up in the rhythm of it, and you're in awe of the various stunts, and the stunts are fucking insane in these old Charlie Chaplin movies. But it's like, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to know how they were feeling back then, I guess. This looks familiar. Oh, is this Syndromes in a Century? No, just kidding. It is not even... Uncle Joe. It's a Taiwanese movie. It's another Edward Yang movie. It seems like I really gotta start watching his stuff. I don't think I've heard of this one. I heard of Yi. I don't know. Looks nice. Slow burn, bittersweet. Those are words I like for movies. Oh, this looks very old too. Oh, Satan Tango. Wow, my boy Bella Tarr making it on here. I don't know if Turin Horse will show up later. I think those two are the most critically acclaimed. I like Werkmeister Harmonies best. And I haven't seen Satan Tango, to be fair. It's like 9 hours long. I would love to watch it at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen. I've been reading the book off and on too. The book is also very brutal and very long and very sad and very scary almost. But we'll get to it. Béla Tarr is a genius unlike any other. The only one who really, really understands better than his audience in a way that feels like he lies somewhere in a ditch that the audience is just barely beginning to see the outer edge of. Knowing the full weight of humanity, knowing the whole brutal pain of human existence better than anyone else. Everyone else turns away, but he buries himself in. What's this? This looks famous. Sunset Boulevard. Alright, cool. An all-time classic. I haven't seen it. I'm honestly surprised I didn't watch it for some class or some other class or something. Seems fun. I don't know, is that a comedy? Could you call it a comedy? Ooh, this looks like another Japanese horror movie from that era. It looks like a period piece or something. It could be a Kurosawa. I'm not sure which one it would be. I don't think it's an Ozu. He didn't really do these period pieces. Shansho the Bailiff. Never heard of it. Oh, it's Mizoguchi again. Oops. Uh-oh. Stop. I haven't watched any of his movies, but he's been showing up already more than any other Japanese director. But we're gonna get some Ozu later. We're gonna get some Kurosawa later. Ozu's my boy. That's where we're gonna get this number up. What do we got next? Imitation of Life. Don't know this one. I've heard of Douglas Sirk, but I don't know like anything in particular about him. Alright. Sure. Sounds very sad and intense. I love it. Oh, Spirited Away? Pretty sure? Yeah, alright, sweet. We got it from the top 10%. We're up to 7. I feel like this could easily be the only anime movie on here, and you know what? Fine. Obviously, there's ones that I like more, but it's kind of like the animes I really like are other genres. They're not like the anime genre, if that makes sense. Like something like Liz and the Bluebird, which I think is a phenomenal movie, is essentially just like a teen melodrama, but it's animated. And the fact that it's animated is a key component of what makes it so good to me, but it's certainly not the genre that most people are looking to animation for. Whereas Spirited Away, I would say very much is like the anime genre. Like it's very, very Japanese. It's super fantastical. It really relies on like Sakuga animation, just like very brilliant, stunning movement and stuff. And I think as far as the anime genre goes, this is one of my favorites for sure. I think it's my favorite Ghibli movie. Oh, no. My favorite Ghibli movie is like a teenage melodrama that's animated. It's Whisper of the Heart. I love Whisper of the Heart so much. But I like Spirited Away too a lot. I'm not surprised that it makes the list. Definitely one of the most critically acclaimed anime movies. Now, if they have your name further down on the list than this, we're just going to close the video, delete the video, no upload, you're not hearing my voice. Oh, Totoro! Wow, Totoro wins out. Cool. Oh, wow. I'm actually really surprised by this because, like, in Japan, Totoro is beloved, and it's, like, one of the kids' classics, But I didn't think it was as popular in the West as Spirited Away. But I suppose the Sight and Sound poll is, like, very multicultural now. Like, they probably are surveying a lot of Japanese critics, too. So maybe I'm not so surprised. Honestly, I don't know, like, it's great. It's a great kids movie. I don't think it's as interesting as a lot of the other Ghibli movies. But I suppose in terms of, like, sheer delight, maybe that's what we want. Hey, look, they said delightful themselves. It's right there. Okay, cool. What's this? This also looks really famous. Journey to Italy. Okay, I don't know. Rossellini. All right. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Don't know anything about it. Move on. Oh, this looks very famous too. This looks like it's from a David Lynch movie, but I know it's not. La Aventura, another Antonioni, another classic, I'm sure. I haven't seen it. Okay. This sounds very... I think this is really cool premise. Looking for a disappeared friend and then ultimately finding yourself. Can't wait to see... You know what? I just realized I want Bergman. Where's Bergman? There should be like 8 Bergman movies on here. We haven't seen any. I don't know why I just thought of that. Metropolis? Yes, nice. I haven't actually seen this. I think I was supposed to watch it for a class. So maybe at some point I acted like I'd seen it in that class. But no, I have not actually seen this all-time sci-fi classic. But cool. I've seen other Fritz Lang movies. I've seen M. I think M is really good. Oh, this is that French documentarian lady who made The Gleaners and I. Is this The Gleaners and I love The Gleaners and I. It is! Oh, sweet. Oh, baby. Up to 9. We're gonna hit 10%. We might even hit like 15%. Yeah, I love this movie so much. It's like so beautiful, comforting, down to earth, quirky. Agnes is so charming, you know, you just... I don't know, man. And the subject matter of people that glean, that work things from scavenge to useful to nutritious to delicious. It's just such a beautiful idea. Very good. Very good. What is this? The Red Shoes. Red Shoes or Blue Shoes? Ballet movie. The Black Swan of its time, let's say. Okay, I don't know anything about this. Sounds like an extravaganza. They emphasize that it's Technicolor. Oh, what is this? Oh, what's going on? What? Oh, I don't know this. Never mind. I don't know what it reminded me of. It just looked really familiar, this like weird thing he's got on his face. I don't know what the hell this is. A short film. Huh, okay. Neat. Is this Joan of Arc? No, it's Andrei Rublev. I haven't seen this. This is one of the biggest Tarkovsky movies I haven't seen. But I'm only just kind of recently getting into the Tarkovsky back catalog. Yeah, this sounds awesome. Everything I've heard about this makes it seem really, really cool. I hope to see more Tarkovsky. I think Stalker is like, and Solaris are both like S-tier achievements. But, you know, if we don't see those, it's only going to drive home the hype for this one even more. Tokiboki. Oh, this sounds kind of familiar. Another Senegalese movie. Yeah, I think I've heard this name before, but I don't know anything about it. But sure. Oh, is this Casablanca? Yes, Casablanca. We're up to 10. 10% of the best movies seen. Let's go me. Yeah, I don't know. I watched this when I was a kid, and I liked it. I remember being pretty moved by it. I don't think I really realized how big a deal it was until I watched it later for a class, and we really obsessed over, okay, but like, compare this to the movies at the time. Compare this to like traditional romance movies. Think about the theming, think about the cultural significance, think about the story it's telling. And then I'm like, all right, yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh, this fellow looks familiar. What's this? Oh, The Third Man. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's Orson Welles. This fellow looks familiar. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard this is really good. I haven't seen it. It's a, you know, one of them crime thrillers. Oh, Goodfellas. I haven't seen Goodfellas. I think that's... I'm like kind of surprised it's so high, I guess. Because I always think of this as kind of like a pop movie core movie. Like in my head it's kind of there with like Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs and like... I don't know. But I'm sure it's good. Or Scarface. These are all kind of like in the same class in my head, and I don't expect to see any of those other movies on this list. I really ought to have seen this. Daughters of the Dust. Senegalese? USA. That was maybe a little racist of me just now. There's just been so many Senegalese movies, and it just had that vibe. But I don't know what this is. I haven't heard of this. Sure. Senegalese? No, Moonlight. I've heard of Moonlight. I should watch this. I've been told that this movie will make me cry a whole lot. Yeah, nothing but praise for this one. It just looks really, really beautiful too. I think the cinematography of, like, all I've seen is stills, but it just looks like nothing else. Oh, there she is, Marilyn. Just kidding. Doesn't that look like Marilyn Monroe? Am I being stupid? This is one of the more humiliating videos I've made where it's just endless. I don't know what this is. I do know what this is, but I haven't seen it. Is this Senegalese? Is this Marilyn Monroe? Anyways, Fellini, I've seen 8.5. I expect to see 8.5 later on this list. I know La Dolce Vita is like the other big one. I'd like to see it. I really, really like Sorrentino, who's like kind of the modern day Fellini, from my understanding, in terms of like subject matter and like decadence. And having seen both like 8.5 and The Great Beauty, I really do see a lot of connections there. So I want to see more Fellini, but I haven't. 8.5 I watched for a class too. Sans Soleil, I've heard of this. It seems really cool. Really cool concept. Well, again, like essay films, I just think are really neat. But I have not seen it. There's, what is this? Sherlock Holmes, Charlie Chaplin, Sherlock Jr., Buster Keaton. Very good. So close. We didn't watch this for a class. I think it was on like an optional recommended other old films to watch. Seems like fun. You know, it kind of writes itself, but those silent comedies, man, they'll still crack you up if you let them. Oh, this looks very familiar. Oh, The Apartment. Alright, sure. Huh. I've heard this movie is good. Like, I know it has, like, big fans. And I know it's kind of groundbreaking in terms of the genre. But I'm surprised that it's so high. I don't know. I've never heard it called, like, a masterpiece or anything, you know? This is, Battleship Potemkin? Yeah. We watched this clip for a class, but I haven't seen the full movie. You know, these old Soviet films are so remarkable in their experimentalness. This shot is just insane. Like, even by modern day standards, you would go, "Oh wow, that's a cool shot." Like that was a lot of work. Yeah, I know this movie's good, but just haven't seen it. What in the world is this? What in the world is this? This looks like a David Lynch movie, but it's not. Oh, it's Blade Runner. Okay, recently I got scolded. Scolded isn't the right word. I got ridiculed. That's also too harsh. I was admonished. I was berated. I was teased because I hadn't seen Blade Runner 2048. But what's even more embarrassing, perhaps, is that I haven't seen the original Blade Runner either. I'd like to see both of them. I like sci-fi movies. I like all the things I've learned about it. You know, I've heard nothing but praise. It just seems so cool. But I don't know, man. I'm a plebe. I don't know this stuff. What's this? Le Mépris. It's another Godard. Good. Godard, so far, most represented filmmaker, up to 3. There's a couple that have 2, but Godard is winning the race so far. As we head into the second half of the list, News from Home. Another letter movie. What's that called? A story told through letters. It's a term for this. Anyways, sounds nice. I like stuff showing old New York City a lot. I just think it's like really fascinating to see like no other city I feel has like such a dense legacy in the modern era, which I think is so cool. You know, like this subway line is still in service. I don't know. Yeah, that looks cool. Never heard of it. Fear Eats the Soul. Never heard of this either. Okay. Interesting. What is this? This looks... The piano. Oh, yeah. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. I was like, is this about the movie about like a blind person that's really good at the piano? But no. It's a mute woman, and who knows if they're even good at the piano or if it's just called the piano. I don't know this one. Australian, interesting. The 400 Blows. Truffaut. This was the first movie that comes up if you look at the Criterion list of movies because it's first alphabetically. So that's like the association I really have. But yeah, no. Truffaut, obviously a legend. I have not seen this. Nouveau vague lyric realism. What a combination of descriptors. It's like Bonello's visceral realism or whatever he called it. What's this? Wanda? Don't know it. I like this description a lot though. Tough, unsentimental portrait. That's very intriguing. Even though I'm always like, oh, this movie was so sentimental, it touched my heart. To hear something described positively as tough, unsentimental portrait just sounds like very complex. I do like movies about characters that are not set out to be likable, that aren't set out to be heart-winning or whatever. And then through that, you examine the societal forces that kind of made them that way. I think that's super, super, super compelling. Oh, this looks very familiar. What the heck could this be? It feels almost like a Bergman, but Bergman doesn't usually do this kind of like weird overhead shot. Penultimate film calling it. Ooh, a transcendent resurrection scene. Spoilers! That lady's gonna get up! Maybe? Interesting. This sounds like an anti-Bergman, honestly. Bergman movies have the same setting. We got some priests, we got some old church. Same dour mood. Hey, somebody's dead. Here's a dead body. They talk about faith for like an hour, and then nothing happens. There's no resurrection scene. There's like a funeral scene. That's why I like Bergman better. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've never seen this movie. Oh, this looks like a 50s classic sort of thing. Cary Grant. North by Northwest. Hitchcock. This is the first Hitchcock we've seen on the list. I'm sure it won't be the last. Ah, man, I feel like I've seen this one. I watched a lot of Hitchcock movies in my early teens because I thought it was really cool to do so, and it is. But a lot of them have kind of blurred into my head now. Like this one, I kind of know the premise. Same with, what is it, Strangers on a Train. I kind of associate those ones. And like Vertigo as well. It's becoming like a jumble. There's only the ones that I rewatched later have like a much stronger impression on me. Sure. The Battle of Algiers. Okay, interesting. Never heard of it. Don't really know much about Algerian War. What is this? Oh, it's Barry Lyndon. Recently, a friend of mine messaged me completely out of the blue and said, hey, do you want to come over and watch Barry Lyndon? I was like, damn, man, I really want to, but I can't. I have plans. But just something about this like impromptu Barry Lyndon watch party. So I did see this. I'm gonna count as seeing it because I know for sure I saw it when I was like 13, 14. I watched all the Hitchcock movies. Man, thinking back to the free time I had back then, and like nowadays, it's like even when I have free time, I feel this like nagging sense of, okay, but I could be doing chores, and like people are gonna be like messaging me. I feel like I should stay in touch. I could be like planning something else. It's very rare that I just like instantly like watch a movie. Like it feels like I gotta like plan a movie or make an occasion out of it or something. But looking back to like in my teens, dude, I would just like spam movies. I would even just watch movies I'd already seen like 5 times just because I'm like, well, I have 3 hours before the next thing I'm supposed to do. Let's watch 2 movies. Those are beautiful days. Oh well, at least I'm going to see a lot of movies in theater now, which is really exciting. That's something I couldn't have done as a kid. Yeah, Kubrick. Looking forward to more Kubrick on this list, if not just because it'll bump this number up. We had kind of a dry spell there for a while in the 40s. Now we're down to 43. Killer of Sheep? I don't know, man. I don't know what this is. I'm a plebe. Disillusioned slaughterhouse worker. Solace to be found within the simplest moments of life. Well, that sounds good. It sounds up my alley. I just don't know it. Doggy? This looks like Tarkovsky. What could this be? Could this be his mirror? Oh, this is Stalker. Oh, that's right. Yeah, parts of Stalker are in black and white. Before they get into the zone, it's in black and white. I thought at first it was Stalker, but I'm like, no, Stalker's color. Yeah. All right. We'll go up to 12 with this one. This movie is very special to me for a number of reasons. I think it opened up an area of my imagination that just had previously not existed and made me really... It's the word zone, the concept of a zone, which had already been flittering around in my head with things like Gravity's Rainbow or the Temporary Autonomous Zone and stuff, seemed like they had reached this kind of like hidden fundamental genesis watching this movie and realizing that that's kind of what it all came from. But then there was also something that a friend sent to me once. I was very, very distraught and upset and filled with envy. A really gut-wrenching, envious feeling I had for the lives of other people. And my friend said, don't compare your stalker to their adventures. Like, all these things you're praising, or not even praising, but like envying and wishing that they were possible for you, is that really what you want? Or is that just kind of like spectacle? And what you have, isn't that really more important? And I mean, it's not, like a mind-blowing message or anything. But the way he said that, don't compare your stalker to their adventures. I was like, that's something that's gonna cheer me up for like the rest of my life, maybe. Yeah, so very special, very important movie to me. What we got? What's this? Oh, Rashomon! Okay. 13! Our first Kurosawa. Really, really classic movie. Recently at work, I'm actually working on an article with some engineers. And the theme of the article is how when something goes wrong, depending on who's analyzing the situation, they're going to have totally different mental pictures of what's important and the causality and what, needs to be fixed and who's at fault or what's at fault. And I was like, oh, this is kind of like Rashomon incidents. And they were like, yeah, it is like Rashomon. And now it's called like the Rashomon blog. Yeah, really cool movie. Really, it feels ahead of its time in just how, not even like experimental, but just like bold the storytelling is. What we got? What's this? Oh, Bicycle Thieves. Okay. This is another all-time classic that I know very, very little about. Neo-realist. Sure. Okay. Oh, Rear Window? Yeah, it must be Rear Window. Nice. My So a lot of movies I saw when I was pretty young, like I think the Blitz started when I was like 12 or 13. That my dad was just like, I'm gonna give my child a proper cultural education. Watch all of my favorite movies regardless of age appropriateness and stuff. And that's when I started seeing like all the Kubricks, a lot of Hitchcock, a lot of stuff like that. But Rear Window, that one I can blame or credit or praise or whatever. That one is on my mom, who when I broke my leg once really badly, like right near the hip, and I was completely incapable of moving that leg, such that I couldn't even go on crutches. I was stuck in a wheelchair for months. And my mom, in her infinite wisdom, decided to show me Rear Window at that time. And it was perhaps the most ideal way to watch this movie when you are literally paralyzed with suspense. Yeah, fantastic. Flawless, just pitch perfect movie. Beat by beat, it just ratchets up the tension. What? I swear to God I didn't read that. Did I, like, subconsciously? I swear. It's just the correct thing to say about the movie. I don't know, you can check the video and see if it popped up. But if it popped up, I swear I didn't read it. Only subconsciously. There she is. There's real Marilyn. Right? Or is this going to be Fellini fake out number 2? No, there. Okay. It actually is her. Sure. Did I watch this for a class? I feel like I watched this for a class. I'm not going to count it on the list, though, because I can't even remember. Like, if I did, it was maybe in some sort of stupor. But yeah, it looks fun, you know, they're bopping along. This looks very familiar. What is this? Oh, another Godard. Okay, sure. Haven't seen this either. Oh, this is, oh, what is this? Is this like OG Frankenstein? That Young Frankenstein is like parodying? Oh, this is M! Oh, I've seen this! I'm gonna count it even though I watched it for a class and it was maybe in some sort of stupor, because I really remember it. I remember him always whistling in the Hall of the Mountain King. It's really good. It's like the creepiest movie ever. And even though it's you know, very old, very shot of that era, you know, like it feels almost like tropey in its cinematography just because it's so landmark and it like was at that first like big major inventive era of cinematic language. It still hits like those almost cliche cinematographic choices, the directive choices, are still so genuinely creepy. Really good. Oh, here's Charlie Chaplin again. What's this one called? I don't know. City Lights, right. I think I watched this for a class, but I don't remember it that well, so I don't think we'll count it. Modern Times I remember better. Like, Modern Times I remember more of the gags. Whereas this one, I can't remember if I watched it or not. But it's like the same kind of thing as Modern Times, where he's just out there getting into trouble, being a little rapscallion. We're all the way at 35 now. This looks familiar. Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, the Apu trilogy. Okay, now that I've seen the Three Colors trilogy, the Apu trilogy is, I think, the biggest unwatched trilogy for me that I've heard. Many good things about it. Just like, I don't know. Like, how could you not want to see a movie that has all the mischief, discoveries, joys, and tragedies of life that are given endlessly lyrical expression? This movie must be 38 hours long to have all of them. Oh, this looks familiar. La Atlanta? No, I don't know this. Okay. Sure, very old. Oh, Psycho? Yeah, hell yeah. I saw this pretty recently. They did a theatrical run that I went to with my mom, and we had a phenomenal time. It was in one of those like VIP theaters. Now this is kind of standard, but this was maybe 5 years ago, and it was a novel thing that you can get a beer. So we had a beer, and we had something more tasty than normal theater food. And we had these nice luxurious chairs with like a table in between two chairs, and we watched Psycho, and it was just wonderful. What a great movie. Again, it's just Hitchcock just makes these like kind of flawless suspense movies where like every single beat accentuates, like it anticipates so well exactly what you're afraid of, or not even afraid of, but like what you're uneasy about, and then leans a little bit further in that direction. And it's so well characterized too. Like, you know, everyone remembers Norman Bates, but every character in the movie has like their own little quirks, their own little charm points, that really kind of make the tale a little more like moralistic. That they're not just kind of executing horror scripts, but instead there's this perverse curiosity in all of them. Very good. Good. What's this? Who dat? Who that girl, who she is. Oh, this is Tarkovsky. This one I haven't seen either. This might be the highest rated Tarkovsky film, because Solaris, as much as I love it, I feel like is too niche to be this high up above like Stalker. Wow. This sounds awesome. I don't know much about what this one is, except that I think it's like less sci-fi than the other ones. What's he looking at? Oh, Fellini, 8.5. Yes. Very good. I watched this for a class in a pseudo theater. We rented out one of the big lecture halls and watched it on projector, which was cool. Phenomenal movie. Just the weird conflusion of director and then like societalite, you know what I'm trying to say here, someone high in society, and then being a good Catholic, being a good partner, that it all just becomes this like surreal jumble, such that you really understand like what it means to make a film holistically, what it means to account for the complexities in bringing all of these creative forces together. Beautiful acting, beautiful direction, so many just really delightful, funny scenes, so many languid, poetic scenes. Beautiful, really good. And as they say here, he's just this unreliable dreamer. Just the way it's so focalized through him, you always have this sense of like everything is just on the verge of being real or unreal. Really good. One of my favorite movies. What's this? Oh, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This is very new. Several of my friends have said this is really, really good. I think my one friend, the friend who made Stalker so important to me, said it was his favorite movie of the year. Sounds intense. Sounds, whew, yeah, we gotta watch it. Could this be Taxi Driver? Yeah. I haven't seen this either. There's a lot of the Scorsese movies I haven't seen. But I don't know. It feels like I ought to have watched this during that movie crazy phase when I was a kid, but for some reason Scorsese just like wasn't at the top of my list. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's fantastic. I ought to see it. Ooh, House? Yo! Is it really? No, it's not. I'm stupid. I got really excited because there's a scene in House, like the Japanese horror movie, that's vaguely similar to this, where it's like this crazy like collage of images, and then the characters' heads are like floating around on top of it. So I got really excited, but no, it's not. It's something else that sounds really cool though. Like montage, anarchy, exuberance, subversion, feminism. These all sound great. Just this one shot is like really delightful to me. It's high praise that I thought it might be from House. I feel like I could spend 10 minutes just looking at this. Czechoslovakian. I see, I see. Oh boy, is this Showa? Why did I say that with such a happy tone? Oh boy, is this Showa? I should have said, oh, this is Showa. So I haven't seen Showa, but I have watched a trailer for it. And the trailer has lingered in my mind solidly in the years since I've seen it, in a way that I feel like I'm really not emotionally ready for the whole movie. Nor am I logistically ready. I think it's 9-ish hours, perhaps longer. But yeah, this has been called, one of the best documentaries of all time. Putting aside, of course, the importance and the emotional weight of the subject matter, just like the humanist depth of the documentary, how it was done, how it was shot, has been called, revolutionary. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I read a lot about the Holocaust. Like, I've learned a whole lot about it. I've read books about it. But I've never, taken the next step and watched... I don't even know what other documentary I would watch about it, but I haven't watched this. I haven't been to Auschwitz or any of those places. I haven't even been to local Holocaust museums. Because it feels like... there's, a certain breaking point in which I won't be able to not feel bad about it ever again, maybe. And that's scary. But at the same time, I think it's enriching to open yourself up to those things, to break down the mental dams that separate your emotional state from reality, and to fully experience the weight of suffering that humans have been through. And I'm saving it. I'm saving it for when I'm ready. Here's something presumably more fun. The Night of the Hunter. Oh, that's not that fun, but it's maybe more fun. Never heard of it. He directed it, and I see. Okay, sure. Oh, it's EO. I just saw this last night. No, Alhazard Balthazar. Never heard of it. You're getting these Swedish directors. Where's my Bergman? This number hasn't budged in a while. I gotta hit 20% at least. Come on. Where's my Bergman? Oh, Do the Right Thing? I've seen this. Yeah. This is a good movie. I mean, of course it is. It's on the list. It's so of its time that it's hard to not kind of see it as a parody of itself now, I think. And it's not even one of those things where it's yeah, Spike Lee he defined all of this stuff. He made this whole era. But rather, it's just the pinnacle of a ton of cultural swirling forces that made its way into every part of the media landscape and are just so beautifully, perfectly crystallized in this one movie. In these singular intense moments, but everyone kind of you can focus in on the really landmark moments, on the questions it raises, but it's just a lot of fun too. The world building of it is a lot of fun. The extended cast is a lot of fun. All sorts of really comedic vignettes. It's cozy in a way until things get bad. What we got? Cheese delay. Damn, this looks good. So much cheese. Oh, it's playtime! My friend who's a big cinephile, who I was talking about this list before I started making this video, who these 9 Discord messages are probably him and my boyfriend talking about the list. This is one of his favorites. He says it's top 5. I haven't seen it yet. It looks wonderful. It looks so unique. Really looking forward to seeing it at some point. Who knows when? Maybe over the holidays I'll have some time off. Binge a bunch of movies. This is Ozu for sure. This is the most Ozu friggin' shot I've seen in my life. This might be... I don't want to say it's Tokyo Monogatari just because I think that'll be higher. but maybe I'm overestimating the popularity of Ozu. This could be one of the seasonal movies, maybe late autumn? Late spring, damn it. So close. So I've seen this one. 19, let's go. I watched all of the seasonal movies and found them really beautiful and sad and lovely. And basically, I was like, there's all these slice of life dramas that I really, really like in anime and manga. It was so eye-opening to see the foundations for those, to see like maybe not even what those mangaka were watching to inspire them, but rather like kind of the cultural inspiration, like what created this cultural mood in Japan of like melancholy sentimentality, of that natsukashi, that drives so much of my favorite modern stories in anime. And here it is in Ozu. Ozu is just such a beautiful human being to me. Saddestest man of all time. His gravestone says nothing. Meh. Just the character for nothing. Really, I don't know. You I was reading in an interview recently that had translated between Kurosawa and Miyazaki, where Miyazaki, has a reputation of being like a real sourpuss. He's like very bitter. And even though he makes such delightful children's movies and is so full of fantastic inventive ideas, he himself is just like super cynical and misanthropic. And then talking to Kurosawa, Kurosawa is just like a kid. He's like a giddy 12-year-old talking about, man, isn't making movies fun? Like, oh my gosh, we're doing all these action shots, and like he's just so like flippant about it. Like he makes it seem like it's easy for him, that he's just like, well, we just shoot what we think will look good, and then editing is fun because you get to choose all the best shots. And Miyazaki's just like, okay. But what I really, really wish is that there was a dialogue of the three of them, the two of those and Ozu, because Ozu is just so pathetically sad that he just lives in this like dreary fantasy world where he's not even dreaming of the fantastical. He's dreaming of like, what if there was a daughter who loved her family so much but like gets scorned at every turn, and it just like obsesses over the sad character that he's invented in his head. What if there was a father that was so bitter about their inability to connect with their children that they drank themselves to death, and he's just like enamored, not even with that person, but with just how painfully sad he could think of something. It's like, that Twitter thing about most of Twitter is just inventing someone and then getting angry at them. Ozu's entire life was just inventing someone and feeling sad about them. Good. This is Joan of Arc. Yeah, The Passion of Joan of Arc. Okay, I haven't seen this. Sure. Here is Kurosawa, Seven Samurai. Very good. Very long. Watched it for a class the first time. And was like, this is so long, but it's so good. It's so good. This is one that he was talking to Miyazaki about in that movie. That Miyazaki was like, oh, when you do big action sequences, when you do the fight scenes, how did you direct it? How did you think of it? Because, for Miyazaki, those big kind of like action-packed climaxes of his movie required so much preparation, so much planning, so much dedication, so much artistry. And Kurosawa was basically like, oh yeah, well, it looks cool if the horses are like running in from here. So we try to like, damn, like make those horses look cool. And he's like 12 years old. It's awesome. It's so beautiful. I don't know. I should read that article again. It's already making me so happy just to think about it. Apocalypse Now. Again, I'm like pretty sure I saw this. This is another one of my dad's like curriculum. I'm sure I've seen this. But it's like so weird because now all of my memories of it are like parodies of it, Like I just picture instead a million reimaginations of the famous scene of him going, the horror, the horror. I'm not going to count this on my list because I ought to see it again and, imprint some memories of the actual film. Sure, sure, sure. Ah, Persona. Yes, yes, yes. Bergman finally appears in a big way. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting 80 entries. This is maybe my favorite Bergman movie. I don't know. It's like hard to say because it's so different than most of the Bergman movies. Like it has the same melancholy. It has the same sense of like being alive sucks, but it's so aggressive and abrasive and weird. The whole cinematography of it is so like distant and experimental, and as opposed to his other stuff, which is like really like warm and close, and the distance comes entirely through the performance and the character. Here it's just like, what the hell is he shooting? Like, like what is like literally what is going on in some of the scenes? But it's phenomenal. It's one of the most haunting and deep stabbing examinations of psyche I've seen in a film. Really good. Really, really good. But it feels weird to say, oh, this is my favorite Bergman, when all of the stuff I love other Bergman movies for is not really that present here. I suppose it's sort of like The Seventh Seal in that regard. The Seventh Seal is also, I could say, oh, that's my favorite Bergman. But it's like, is it really? It's like a crazy Monty Python romp. It's like, people don't understand this with The Seventh Seal. Oh, sure, it's sad at times, but a lot of it is really funny. The Seventh Seal is like a romp. And it feels weird to say, yeah, that to me is Bergman. Instead of, like Winter's Light or even Wild Strawberries. I'm like, isn't that too happy? The Wild Strawberries is among my favorites too. I don't know. Through a Glass Darkly, that's where it's like, yeah, that's core Bergman. Because it's sad and like 3 things happen total. In this movie, like 300 or 400 things happen. All right. Moving on. What is this? Close Up. Oh, yeah. I've heard this is really cool. I don't know much about it. I've just seen it on a lot of lists, and I've read several micro synopses of it before and been like, yeah, that sounds cool. That's all I got. We're getting into the top 15 here. Oh, this looks super familiar. What is this? No, I don't know this. No idea. Never heard of this one in my life. But it is much beloved. What in the heck? What is this? Cowboy movie? Oh, The Searchers. This one I was supposed to watch for a class, but I remember I didn't. But we watched the ending of it in class, having supposed to have already seen it, and I was very, very moved. The ending, this doesn't really spoil too much. I don't feel like I've been spoiled on the movie having seen it, is that our main character, who has just been on this tremendous adventure, risked so much, sacrificed so much to save the person. I don't really remember what happens with that. And then he just leaves. And the last shot is he just leaves. And it's just like, it captures so much of, I think, the appeal of Westerns. That sense of empty freedom. He just leaves. All right. My job here is done. Cleo from 5 to 7. I've heard this is really good. One of these really Vogue French movies that's super, super stylized and super fun, but also super melancholy. Sure. This looks like Hitchcock again. What is this? Oh, The Rules of the Game. Renoir. I haven't seen this either. So many classics. My curriculum has failed me. Both my father's and the literal curriculum of the film studies classes I took in university. Oh well, I've seen lots of other movies. I have my own curriculum now, my own Criterion collection. And it's got Liz and the Bluebird, number 1. Oh, Godfather, I can tell already. I've seen this. This was another one in my kind of early teens blitz of watching every movie my dad could think of. I joke about it because he definitely showed me a lot of movies that were not appropriate for how young I was. But it's a lot of really, really good memories too that we'd go to Blockbuster and he'd be like, "Ooh, have you seen this one? This is a good one." Or like we'd be watching The Simpsons or something and they would do a parody or a reference and he'd be like, "Oh, you haven't seen that? Oh, okay, okay." And then like the next day we would just watch it. I don't know. It was one of those times where it really felt like the world was opening up to me. Even though I lived on this farm way out in the middle of nowhere, I had no real cultural touchstones physically with me. I felt, like I was trapped in kind of a monoculture. This was one of the big gateways. This is one of the big door openings, was my dad renting movies. Brilliant. Great movie. I mean, what can you even say about it? It's The Godfather, if it didn't exist, we would be forced to invent it. That there needs to be a mafia epic that contains all of people's expectations for that genre. And here it is. What is this? What is this? What? I don't know what this is. I've never heard of this. We're almost in the top 10 and there's still movies I haven't heard of. That's embarrassing. Even from like, I at least think that I should have learned from reading the previous list and had it made some sort of impression on me. Because there's no way this is like the first appearance of it. There's no way that 6,000 critics were suddenly like, "Do you remember that movie from 1927, Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans? That one's actually really good. Let's vote for that this year." No. I had plenty of time to have heard of this, and I haven't. What's going on? Lush, atmospheric silent drama. Groundbreaking cinematography. Okay, well, I could have guessed that. Singing in the Rain. Yeah. Banger. So much fun. The songs are still so catchy. The premise is just like so intoxicatingly fun. You just feel the excitement that all of the characters have for like everything that's going on. I don't know, man. It holds up so well. Like it's just such sheer joyous entertainment. Even, 100 years later. 100 years? No, what am I saying? It's about the 20s. I just saw 20s and my brain did quick maths. But yeah, it's about the 20s, but it's, of course, from the 50s. Really good. Oh, Man with a Movie Camera, perhaps? Yeah, very good. I've seen this. We watched it for a class. I was really moved. This is like legitimately just Kino. This is like what the word Kino is for. Every scene is like hypnotic, moving somehow. It feels like you're seeing something so private, yet so universal, so essential. It really captures, I think, the joy of being able to record motion for like the first time, It was still a novel technology. It was still something that was making its way into the hands of people for the first time. I mean, it's not so long ago that the idea of recording video was special, was exciting. I remember I got a camcorder when I was like 14, maybe? No, I think even younger than that. And I would make movies with my cousins. And just, I don't know, man. It just like never got old. Just filming something and just watching it. and seeing it again. And it's crazy how used to that we are when it was such an explosively new idea. Like so relatively recently. And yeah, I think most of the films we shot when I was a kid was this sort of experimental thing. We were kids with movie cameras. I can remember the camera had the ability to play something backwards at 1x speed. And we would take all of these movies that were just eating, and then we'd watch them backwards, and it's just, oh. And just this visual of taking food out of your mouth is so funny. Even now, I think I would laugh at that when all of the novelty is gone. Or I don't know, man. Just, oh, man, it's all flooding back to me now. Oh, man. I wonder if I can find these. We were like experimental. We really were excited to capture the motion of all sorts of things and like analyze it, and things falling, things breaking. There's a joy to it. There's a joy to it that's been around for legitimately now almost 100 years. And I hope it never goes away. I hope kids these days are still thrilled when they get a hold of like their mom's smartphone and they can record a video and then see the video. That's what it was like. Ah, Mulholland Drive. Very good. Wow, top 10. Nice, nice. I love this movie. I love this movie. God, it's so weird. It's so weird, but it's so obviously good. Like, it's so bizarre because the characters play these, like, very inconsistent caricatures almost that dramatically change through the movie. It, like, spits in the face of, like, everything that we can consider good acting. And yet, there's no one in the world that would watch this and say, yeah, that's a bad performance. It's just captivating in a way that, like, other movies aren't. And there's so many scenes that just, like, build up this insane primeval dread. Like, okay, one that, you know, I think a lot of people praise, but is one of my personal favorites, is when the guy is talking to the, like, psychologist or something, and they're in, like, a diner, and he says, I keep having dreams about this diner. I have a dream that I go around back to, like, where the dumpsters are, and there's somebody there. And they're basically like, all right, well, let's go see if there's somebody there. And, like, just this nightmarish dread that builds up. And it's so implacable, but it feels, like, so fundamental, like, in your gut. Oh, man. Oh, just thinking about it now, like, my body is dumping tons of different chemicals in me to try to prepare for what I'm going to see out behind the dumpster. Yeah, I don't know. Really good. People are like, yeah, it's like about Hollywood, right? Like, it's about should have never gone to Hollywood, System of a Down. But like, it just kind of feels like it's like the horrible core of all dreams. That even the most beautiful, fantastical dream you can imagine, one with all of your wishes fulfilled, once you start like chiseling into it, there's just this unreality at the center of it that's so corrupting, that just kind of reveals like some strenuous instability in your mind, that you just fall into yourself. And man, I don't know, man, it's good. It's good. It's good. France? Okay, sure. France? Is there a scene in... Okay, whatever. What is this? Beau Travail. We're in the top 10 and there's still movies I haven't heard of. Philistine! But we are up to 25%. I've seen a quarter of the best movies. Good. Alright. Looks intense. 2001. 26. This was one of the ones that I watched like maybe 5 times in my early teens. I think this one I found very relaxing and comforting. And some of you may consider me a psychopath because, you know, the latter half of the movie is very thrilling and very tense and a little scary. And it was one of those things where, like, yes, it was scary the first time I saw it. But then ever since, just because I'm, like, spending so much time, like, in anticipation and just kind of taking in the whole of it in my memories as I watch it, it's then transcends to just like this very trance-like experience where, I don't know, man, this movie is just so goddamn beautiful. There's never been another movie set in space that like really captures weightlessness, that captures the beauty of things adrift in zero gravity. The closest thing I'm gonna say is actually The Orbital Children. And like Isso's Orbital Children, I think another thing of this movie that I find just like hypnotically comforting is the depiction of like a semi-near future and all of the like quality of life things, all of the little things, you know, him playing computer chess, they're like weird meals, all the like protocol that we see kind of like executed in the day by day. And it's like weirdly lived in too. It doesn't feel future-y. It feels like this is commonplace for them. I don't know, man. Of course it's like inventive. It has crazy big ideas. It asks big philosophical questions. But for me, it feels like a movie I just kind of inhabit in a really, really pleasant way. In a way that reminds me a lot of Iso now that I think about it. Yeah, it's great. A towering achievement of science fiction cinema. So I think my dad was inspired by his own childhood because he told me this came out, what, in 68? So he would have been 7 years old. And his older brothers took him to the theater to see 2001. And he said that was the moment that defined his life. And you can believe it, right? Like, what else could it... Oh my god, fifth? Oh, just when I was losing hope. In the mood for love. Nice. I don't know. Where can you even start talking about this movie? It's just like achingly melancholy and beautiful. Deep humanist message that... It's like one of those humanist messages where it's not like, yeah, everybody's beautiful on the inside. It's kind of just like, you can be pretty crappy and you can be really crapped on, and you can do things that maybe feel desperate, that maybe you'll regret. And it's like, that's good. That's fine. It's not all about just this virtuous life. It's not even about maybe trying to live a virtuous life. It's just about trying to live. It's just about trying to have some sense of connection and love and happiness in a world that's just gonna kind of shit on you. So many enchantingly beautiful scenes. I was talking about manga in a recent video. I was talking about this manga that I really like because that has a really good sense of closeness and tightness and comfort in the depiction of like households and stuff. That everything is kind of crammed together and feels very lived in, and just has like the weight of decades of accumulation and cavitation. And I think this is a movie that really pulls off that sensation beautifully as well. I don't know, I want to watch it again already. I'm just thinking of all the scenes where they're just like navigating the apartments and there's just like all this stuff going on. It's like food being prepared and a table of people playing mahjong and everybody's kind of like shouting to each other little updates about what's going on and asking each other questions, and it's just so rich. It's just so like rich with life and vividness. And then the way that out of that kind of bustling of life, this like thread of this romance. So my friend is really into movies that I've alluded to a few times already. This is his favorite movie of all time. I'm pretty sure. So I watched it with him the first time I had seen it. And we watched his Blu-ray copy of it. And I don't know, we were just like chatting about it later. And I was like, okay, well here's what I don't get. Were they having sex? Tony Leung and I can't think of this lady's name. Were they having sex? And he was like, no. It was just like emotional cheating. Like it was like they were having this illicit emotional bond because they needed to. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think there's like a lot of scenes that imply they were also having sex. Like I agree that that's not the important part, and it doesn't really matter if they were or not. But like I was like, I think so. And then I was like, hey, this Blu-ray, it has deleted scenes. Have you ever watched these deleted scenes? And he was like, no, I don't think so. The very first one we click on. and then it was like a discussion of, okay, well, it's deleted. Does that mean it like definitely didn't happen because they took it out of the movie? Or did they just not show it and the deleted scene is proof that it did happen? Because it's not like they... I don't know. There's much debate to be had. But anyways, phenomenal movie. This is Tokyo Monogatari, right? Yeah. Banger. Japan wins. Take that, China. That's a very stupid thing to say. Anyways, great movie. Both of these have mahjong scenes, by the way, now that I'm thinking about it. This one is Ozu going, what if there was a family, and the family kind of sucks, especially the ungrateful brat children, but one of them happens to get just the most darling, Genki, supportive wife, and then the wife realizes how shit the parents have been treated, but like, what can she do? And it turns out she can do a lot. And then Ozu is just like, I'm already crying. And then he's like, I gotta make everybody else cry, alright? Here's the movie. Good one. I remember I watched this both for like a film history class and then like a Japanese movie class. And for the Japanese movie class, I knew that my teacher, I almost said my sensei, my teacher, my professor, spoke Japanese and knew Japanese. So for some reason I decided to try to write an essay on this in Japanese. I guess because I had already written about it in English for the other class. So it was like such a stupid idea. And I didn't really get anywhere because my Japanese is terrible. But I wrote like a bit and then I like switched to English and I left it in there. And my teacher was like, yeah, that's neat. But I think all I said was like, Tokyo Monogatari daisuki. この物語が寂しい。懐かしい。And she was like, alright. Nice attempt. Oh, man. Oh, I feel... This video has been crazy, man. I felt like such strong nostalgia for like so many different parts of my life going through this list. Even though I was like, haha, this list makes me feel like a dummy. It also makes me feel pretty proud because I've really had many very distinct eras in my life where I plunged headlong into films and gathered a big chunk of education and a big chunk of opinions and a big chunk of memories. And I feel like I'm in one right now where I'm going to movies in Toronto all the time. And each one is different. Each one brings different movies to my attention. Each one has a different range of emotions. And I'm sure they'll just keep happening throughout my life. And each time the BFI puts out another top 100 list, maybe we'll still be examining it and making videos and seeing the different areas cascade. Citizen Kane in third. All right. It used to be the all-time champion. I suppose it is still the all-time champion, but dethroned last time by Vertigo and now bumped all the way down to third. I don't know, man. What can you say about this movie? It's one of the most discussed movies of all time. We watched it, of course, for a class. I think I'd seen it before then, too, but it was in the class that we really broke it down and talked about how influential each and every shot was and how many new ideas for film emerged from this. The one that I'll always remember is we were talking about how this is the first movie where they showed like a ceiling. That so many movies were either shot in set, or even if they were shot on location, they had just been so like the ideas of shooting in set were so inherent to how you think about shooting a movie that nobody ever thought to have like a panning shot up to the rafters or anything. I might have got this wrong. Maybe this is like a myth that was repeated in class or something, but that one really stuck with me. Nobody thought to shoot the ceiling before. Okay. Good. This is Vertigo, right? Yeah. Okay. I've definitely seen this at some point. I'm going to count it because I remember it pretty well. It's just that I also kind of remembered moments of North by Northwest and a few of the other thrillers. Like Rope. It's like particular scenes I'm like, okay, which one was that in? I should watch this again. Obviously everyone loves it. But it's in second. Which means that we're going to have a new #1 champion. What is it going to be? I actually have no idea. What haven't we seen yet? I'm personally very disappointed that there was so little Bergman. There was just Persona. But I'm not going to go so far as to say, I think Seventh Seal should be #1 or something. I think that would be kind of shocking. What's missing? What's missing? It's definitely something I know. It's definitely something I'm going to be like, oh, of course. What's missing? Probably something quite old. I'd be shocked if it was past like the 60s. What's missing? Can I tell from this? It's color. It's color, but it does look old. Hmm? What is this? What? Wait. What? Huh. I don't know this movie. I feel so embarrassed, but I don't know this one. Wow. 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 Cool. Wow. All right. Damn. Okay. Huh. An experimental feminist film. Amazing. I guess I'll have to watch this. 404. That's unfortunate. Wow. Excuse me. Okay. Should we look at the director's poll too? This video is already so long. The director's poll isn't usually that crazy different. Let's just zoom out and we'll go through it quick and see if there's anything crazy. Throne of Blood, the Kurosawa Macbeth thing. I've seen that. We'll just see if there's like a lot more that I've seen, I guess. Oh, I've seen this. Nice. Hey, there you go. Maybe a little more Bergman on the director's front, you know? Ingmar Bergman making a movie, and so am I. Where is the Friend's House? Oh, that's the same person as Close Up. A Separation. This got a lot of buzz. Oh, The Conversation. I like this movie a lot. I saw that for a class. Wow, Sallow. Interesting. Chinatown. Seventh Seal. I don't know, man. The director's pool is like lining up with my taste a lot more. Jaws. Banger. Maybe at heart I like the director's poll more. Eraserhead. More Bergman. I haven't seen this though. This is like 12 hours long. Strangelove, more Kubrick. Upon a Time in the West again. Come and See. This is a movie I really, really, really want to watch. I've heard such enticing, exciting things about it. Yeah, it's not crazy different. It's about kind of what I expected in terms of rearranging. They have The Godfather 2. And the critics list has Godfather 1. That's interesting. I like Godfather 2 better, and I don't think that's super controversial, right? Like, I think Godfather 2 is considered by a lot of people like a more interesting movie just because it has like the parallel timelines and stuff, and it's just kind of like more bold, more experimental. Mulholland Drive a lot lower. Rashomon. Stalker still very good. Barry Lyndon higher. Mood for Love lower. Persona higher. 8.5 higher. And then this spiked up as well. Tokyo Story still very high. Oh, then they have the OG Godfather super high. Okay, interesting. Citizen Kane and then 2001 at number 1. Huh. Very, very, very different movies at number 1. Although I guess you could say they're both experimental. I don't know. Okay. Good list. Makes me want to make a list of my own. We saw a grand total of 30. Not bad. Better than I thought I would do. There's a lot of these that have been very high on my I want to watch list for a long time. And then a lot of other ones that I just had never heard of, including the number 1 movie, which is very embarrassing. Definitely have to research this a little more. Okay, that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed this hour-and-a-half long trip through movie history with me. I sure had a blast. That's all for now.